All right. So welcome to another episode of the Coastal Wave Podcast. Coming to you from the second floor of the Berkshire Hathaway building here in not so sunny Myrtle Beach today, but 364 other days out of the year it sure is. And today we have a very special guest joining Deborah and I. She is a legend, an absolute legend here in the Myrtle Beach area in the state of South Carolina. We have Marsha Griffin joining us. Give me a round of applause.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Might be a little lofty, but thank you.
Not at all. So let's jump into it. Marsha, I've known you for a good bit of time here and many years in this town, and you are a local leader here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, you know, I have been privileged to know you, and the things that you've sort of brought to the projects that we've worked on has been really, really nice, a special thing. And Larry and I moved here in 1976, so probably before most of you here were born, and have really spent our career here. As you can tell, I did not come too far from up the road.
That's right.
Actually, I came from Lake Waccamaw, where I was teaching at Southeastern Community College then.
Sure.
That was my first job out of college. But I am originally from Kinston, North Carolina, which is eastern North Carolina near East Carolina University. And that's one of my alma maters. I also have a master's in EDS from USC. So
Okay.
I feel like this is home because when I came here, I worked for Erie Georgetown Technical College and was there for 28 years.
Wow.
And so this is really my home. I think about that way.
So you've really seen Erie Georgetown Technical College grow. Oh my gosh. Tell us about when you first went there, and you said you were there 28 years. What was it about? How did it look?
When I first went there, and it was really a story because, you know, this is a Who's Your Daddy County. And my daddy wasn't from here.
Yes.
But I had the accent. And I was a tobacco farmer's daughter.
Yes.
So it wasn't so easy. You know, it was pretty easy to break in. However, I went to Tech every week and met a man named Pete Miller. And there were two buildings then.
Yes.
Building 100, which is now the H. Neil Wilson building.
Yes.
And Building 200. They were the two buildings in 1976.
Wow.
And Pete had been the pilot for Air Force One.
Really?
For Nixon. So he was a little more accepting of me not being from Erie County, although I didn't know how to say the name.
Yes.
And he said, Marsha, I'm going to have to hire you because I'm tired of seeing you every week. And so that's how I got to go to work there. And counselor by trade, but they only had a reading position. So I could read. So I took that position.
Yes.
And it parlayed nicely. Now, when you talk about growth, and I worked for Kent Sharples, the D. Kent Sharples building is named for him. And he was one of the big growth components and big economic developer here in this county. And we did so much. They would bring me a curriculum after I got to be in the counseling center and a lead teacher, like say, for culinary, for paralegal. See, we didn't have any of those things.
Right.
So everything was built. And look at where we are now.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
I mean, I think the second largest, or probably the third, probably Greenville Tech, Midlands, and us.
Yes.
And where we came from is just unbelievable. And I'm still very fortunate to be able to say that I still work for them.
Yes.
On contract. And I still do machine tool because, you know what? Very few women know what a machinist does.
Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us machine tool.
Oh, it's been a program there from the beginning, and then we lost a lot of funding for it. Not exactly for the program, but it costs so much to stay abreast. You know, machines are $150,000, $200,000, especially the CNCs.
So you're talking about machines that will maybe cut things out, or
Everything in this room, our jewelry, your glasses, if you've had a knee replacement, a tooth implant, all starts in a machine shop.
right?
And it is just unbelievable. And as a matter of fact, on Sunday, and Eddie, a boy that we know mutually,
Sure.
was a guy who had made 1580 on the SAT, had flunked out of USC for certainly not academic reasons. And he is now making $65 an hour at Pettinghouse.
Wow.
He was one of my students, is getting a great promotion. And I said to him Sunday, I said, "You're going to be the plant manager, aren't you?" He said, "That's the plan."
That's great.
What a wonderful story.
Mm-hmm. That's the plan.
You're really a historian when it comes to Horry Georgetown Tech, and I'm sure all the other things that you've done. But it's so, I love to hear the energy in your voice when you're talking about that, because you can see the joy.
Well, and people ask me, I'm 74, and they say, "Marsha, when will you retire?" What would fill my glass?
Yeah.
And I do love, every day is, the State Farm agent in North Myrtle Beach. She's early college high school.
Yes.
One of our students just got the largest minority State Farm agency in the state in Columbia, early college high school.
So tell us the difference between Horry Georgetown Tech, which is one entity, and early college.
Right. Well, and that's a great question. While I was working with Tech, and see, Tech cast a big net, and then you've got your Georgetown County
Yes.
piecework also, and both of the new centers for mechatronics and machine tool and welding are in those two county areas. So I was working with that, and Doug Wendell had gotten all these Christmas presents. Mm-hmm. And they came from the store.
And who is Doug Wendell for the folks out there that don't know?
Yeah. At that point in time, he was the CEO of Burrs & Chapin. Mm-hmm. And that is when, this was in...
I've heard of him.
06, you have? Once or twice?
Once or twice.
All right. This is when he was... this was in 06 when B&C was magical.
Yes.
And as big a part as they are still of this community, magic is the word for that, wouldn't it be?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think they had their hands in everything.
So my husband had given me this article to read about Bill Gates funding early college high schools. And it had been picked up on a paper from our own Governor Riley that became known as the senioritis study, because we were letting children just flounder in high school, not giving them specific technical information or even information about 4-year or master's level careers. They were checking out early in senior years and losing just the whole bridge work for higher ed. So Doug was in the store, and I'd read the articles and everything, and he said, he couldn't get out fast enough, Marsha, I have a lot of things on my plate. I said, okay, take my proposal and read it. Uh-huh. And so he took the proposal to get out the door. You do know.
Okay.
I can see it now. And so when he got back and read it, by 4 o'clock, I had a phone call. See, we had tried to get Gates to fund, and I couldn't get a statewide project because I had gotten the technical college on board, and I had gotten the public schools on board, and then we needed the business community. Well, I didn't want a charter school. Mm-hmm. I'm a major public school advocate, and so he said at 4 o'clock, "Can you be at my office at 8 o'clock in the morning?" Well, as Nigel knows, that's not my favorite time of day. Uh-huh. But I said, yes, sir, I'll be there. And the rest is history.
Yes.
And the partnership became formed. They gave us $350,000.
From the Gates Foundation.
No, sir, from the Burrs and Chapin
Oh, from the Burrs and Chapin
Foundation.
Okay.
And it actually wasn't even from the foundation.
It was straight up.
Straight up.
Okay.
And it really worked out better not to be a Gates school
Okay.
because it was freedom that you could have never had with grant money.
So with grant money, they would have put some limitations on you.
Oh, yes.
Ah.
Oh, yes. And,
Gotcha.
and the reporting. And see, we were breaking pretty new ground.
Yes.
And we had put the businesses in. And because Burrs and Chapin was the big carrier, and the big sponsor, of course, then, everybody wanted to be in.
Right.
Right. And so Doug put the board together, and see, it was wonderful to have his leadership and, of course, Edgerton's support and leadership. So the school was placed at Oury Georgetown, and they gave us the whole Conway end of the building.
Wow.
Because this school was to be done for indigent children, middle quartile, first generation college.
Yeah.
And we took 100 a year.
Now, the building location that it's in currently, was that the first building, or
No.
Tell us a little bit about maybe how that building came to fruition, because it's a beautiful building.
Oh, that's a $1 million high school.
Yeah.
And we had the Conway end of building 2,
Okay.
which was a lot for tech to give up because, there wasn't so much space out there. Because one of the biggest concepts of early college high schools are that you start your college career second semester of 10th grade.
How about that?
Yeah.
You're starting your college career the second semester of 10th grade.
Correct.
And do they apply to get in, or is it a testing, or how are they selected?
And let me finish on the building and I'll come to that. So we outgrew the Conway end.
I imagine quickly.
Yeah. So, actually we stayed there for 3 years. And I loved it there because they were really more immersed with my actual student body. Does that make sense?
It does.
Sure.
Instead of having their own building. But we did outgrow it. So
There's something to say about folks being around,
Yes.
It really is having
see they saw
reach,
more in the halls
Yeah.
and, ate with them in the
Yeah.
lunchroom and things like that.
It works like that in a lot of offices.
about it here.
They're bringing people together, when they're
Absolutely.
earshot away and they can overhear you say, hey, and you really learn a lot more.
That's
from that.
exactly right.
We tell that of our new agents all the time. Please come in and learn from the experience.
And network and get to know new people and new, things that are going on.
The heck with that remote working.
Oh, Nigel, would that ever be for you and Marsha Griffin?
I tell you what, I don't know.
No.
No.
Little sidebar. I had a home office. Guess how long that lasted?
I tried to do a home office once, and I did just get a desktop, but I cannot work from home. I literally can't get anything done.
Mine lasted 2 days.
Yeah.
On the 14th, phone call to Larry Griffin. He said, baby, pack your bags and come to the store.
Yeah. There's something to say about getting dressed up, getting out the house, and getting
Without
your mind right.
Question. You are ready to meet the day.
Yeah.
You come to do business. That's right.
When I'm at home trying to work, I'm like, oh man, should I fold these clothes? Should I do my dishes?
Well, I didn't even get that far. No. So anyhow, we told them that we would build a high school for them, but they didn't want to do that. So we leased them the land for $1, and then they built their own high school with public school funding, with building funds, because they wanted to own
Yes,
the building.
the building.
So then they moved there, and if you've never been there, it's quite a great school to go visit. And anytime anybody ever wants to go, just call Nigel or call me, and I'll take you out there for a tour because it's really nice. And the children that are there.
And I'd love to see it.
Oh, it'd be great.
It's nice. So how much did that building cost? How much money did they have to get and raise and get
I
funded?
think between maybe 600,000, 800,000, we gave them the land, and I'm not sure on those numbers now.
Sure.
But because they built that in, I guess 2010. Because we quickly became, in education, you never want to be a program. You always want to have a solid title.
Sure.
And we didn't have a BEDS code. We weren't a high school. They were coming from other places. Like the base school might have been Socastee or Conway, because they could come from all. And you were asking about how they got in.
How you develop the classes.
In the beginning, they applied, and see, the big thing was you would have a 2-year degree when you finished high school. And actually, they have it before, because the college graduates before the high school does.
I love it.
So here you were, no cost. You had a 2-year degree, and thanks again to Burrs and Chapin and Edgerton and Doug and all the powers to be, we developed 3 fabulous scholarship programs.
Wow.
One with Coastal Carolina. Dave DeCenzo gave us $50,000 a year. And this past year, by the way, we went up to $79,000.
How about that?
So whatever my children don't have to go to Coastal, they fill the gap.
That's great.
That is amazing.
And then we have a tuition scholarship with USC. And that again was because of Edgerton, because he sits the University of South Carolina board.
Yes.
And so that is tuition only. And that's a little hard for my students because housing is $10,000.
Wow.
And that's without any frills.
Wow.
And then Fred Carter at Francis Marion did us a scholarship there at Francis Marion. So we have 3, if you want to stay at Tech. We have 2 nursing seats, automatic for our children.
Wow.
We have 2 rad tech seats, automatic for my children. And then all the other options, you can walk out with a machine tool degree, a mechatronics degree. I've got a little girl. I just got a email before I came. I've just started involving Mead Hunt. And I have civil engineering program. Have a little girl in civil. They're going to take her as an intern, and have offered us a scholarship this morning.
That is amazing.
Is that right? And they're the largest engineering firm in the country, maybe the world.
Maybe.
Built the Hoover Dam, and they're in the CC&B Bank building
How about that?
with their office, right?
That's
And
great.
so we would interview that 397 applied the first year, and we could only take 100. And so we did a great job. We interviewed them, their parents. They had to write an essay that they understood, because here you are, a middle quartile child. You have to come in 9th grade. So you've been just getting along, through 8th grade. Nobody's really been pressing you, Maybe you've got, a lot of my kids' parents are working 2 and 3 jobs. My children work 2 jobs a lot of times. And they're not working for a new shirt on Friday night. They're working to keep lights on.
Wow.
And so that makes a lot of difference. And we are a Title I school now. And I believe the latest figure, 78% eat free lunch at our school.
How much?
78%.
78%. That's great.
That is really wonderful.
And
I
so,
always hate hearing about the school lunches when it comes down to the high schools and things like that. Just that's it's horrible that some folks can't, and
well, and
and some that's their only meal of the day.
and some folks won't sign up
Wow.
because they're too proud. And I work real hard with my people on that, let this be. And that Backpack Buddies, what a wonderful program. And they really provide a lot of weekend meals for children.
So tell us real quick, about the Backpack Buddies. What does it do?
They come and they pack backpacks, and on Friday afternoon, our children can pick them up, take them home for the weekend.
Okay. And what do they put into the backpacks?
A lot of cans, snacks, puddings, fruit cups, mac and cheese, things like that.
That's great.
Yeah, it is great. Oh, there's so many programs in this county, you know, and to take advantage of. And that's one of the things that I wish I had a little more time to do is help people access things.
Well, hopefully this is going to be a platform for you to be able to do some of that.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's and a lot, like you said, a lot of people don't know it. So
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people don't know about the early college high school, even though it's been here since '06.
So why don't maybe about that?
And we have 250 children today in college classes
I love it.
that are at the high school because we have a 9 through 12 format. And like I said, the
So
success,
how many is that? 200?
200.
250 are enrolled in college classes.
how about that? And out of those 250, how much they're all local, or do they come from other areas? So are you looking at, are they Stockton? Where does the majority of the kids come from, would you say?
What would you think now? You know where it's situated.
Where would
Think about location.
where they come from? It. All right. So because you said that, you're going to make me want to think somewhere outside of Conway. And so I'm going to go with
Our newest area.
Carolina Forest.
Carolina Forest.
So the majority of the kids come from Carolina Forest. Wow.
See, it's almost a walk across the road.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Almost a walk across the road. We do have a lot from Conway.
Uh-huh.
We don't have so many from Aner, and I kind of attribute that to they're pretty good at rapping their own.
Right.
You know,
And that's a great
that
school.
school is an enigma.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
Blue Ribbon School.
Yeah, and very special.
Absolutely.
And we're a Blue Ribbon School as well. The first high school in 22 years in Erie County to receive Blue Ribbon High School Award.
How about that? Isn't that nice?
It is amazing. How many, do you have statistics on how many children who go through your program go on to do, and you've talked about a few scenarios today, but are there statistics for you of
There are,
average?
and when we talk again, I'll have those. Because, see, that's one of the advantages of being a public school. Do we have a statistic on everything?
And I'm sure it's a large success rate.
It's very large.
I imagine that it is. These kids who might not have had an opportunity have now had an opportunity and go on to live lives that their families never heard of.
Oh, never even gave a thought to. I guess one of, and see, putting them partnering with Meat Hunt, partnering with State Farm, you know, like Bobby Kelly, and I miss him every day. He was on the board and was such an advocate. And I don't know if you know about State Farm, but they take aspirins. And so
And what is that?
an aspirant is if you decided you wanted to be a State Farm agent,
Uh-huh.
but now you had no experience.
Uh-huh.
Bobby would take you in. He would pay you a moderate salary, and he would get you all your license, and then he would put you in a program to be looked at to have your own agency.
Wow.
Now,
Amazing.
do you know the power of having a State Farm agency?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I had a little girl. She was in my first class. Beautiful African American woman, and she wanted to work at a bank. And now there's not anything wrong with that, but I knew there was more for her. So Governor Riley gave the first graduation party.
Uh-huh.
It was his 80th birthday, but he didn't want it to be the emphasis that he was 80. He wanted it to be that we had graduated our first class.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Love it.
And because there, you know, he was Secretary of Education for Clinton.
Love it.
So this is when he had a lot of power. So we were having the party, and I told Bobby Kelly, I said, now, Bobby, I've got this girl, and I really want you to talk to her because she was dead set on being at the bank. Well, see, now for her, that was awesome. I mean, here she was, a first generation college. And by the way, she is now touted as the top 5 most successful graduates of the Darla Moore School of Business.
Wow.
At the
love
University of South Carolina.
That.
Love that story.
Oh, she's it's amazing. So Bobby's over there, and he kind of thought my children might be too young. So I looked over there. She was speaking. She was president of the class. Tears running down Bobby's eyes. You know how emotional Bobby was. And he said, "Come over here." I said, "Nope, too young." And so he beckoned me again. So then I brought her over there, and she became his first aspirant.
Wow.
And now the agency in North Myrtle Beach, State Farm, is hers.
That is a
How
great,
cool is that?
great, wonderful
Yeah.
story.
And she just got Loris. She now has a second.
Look at this. Good for her.
I mean, y'all, that's amazing.
That's powerful.
Great success story.
Yeah,
right there.
and corporate is really into her. And by the way, they gave us one of the largest gifts they'd ever given. They gave $50,000
Well,
to early college, and they're not a big. They help you, but they're not so big.
sure.
But
That's
we just had winter dance.
Okay.
We formed a foundation called BE Squared, Business Education Expectations. And you know, as much as the college and public schools, they've done their part, but you know, they knew their role. Yeah. The business community here has been the key.
Yes.
Yes. And just like you said, it is. And Nigel's on the board, and he brings in lots of opportunities and things that really make us let them go and be with agents. And you know, 3 of my last graduates wanted to be real estate agents.
Looky there.
How about that?
Looky there. And maybe there's another aspirant.
Absolutely. Well, you know, we took them all. Jamie,
Is that right?
he did. Well, we
We're going to keep in
talked.
touch on that one.
Well, no, we talked about it.
Uh-huh.
And he thought that and I know you have a great training program too, but he said, my training program is just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went down there with him, I've never had a child, an 18-year-old, on an interview say, I want to be a real estate agent.
Well,
So you know it had to be a sign of the times.
sure.
And that was what they were hearing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And so the foundation sent them to school, bought their books. We buy their books for them. We provide all the things, the mentoring, the going into business to work, anything that, like I had a girl and she wasn't doing well, so we provided a tutor.
Right.
We provide all the SAT and ACT, anything that, say, your boys could get.
Yep.
We try to provide for the children at early college,
Yes.
because a lot of times that's the missing element. It's not that they aren't smart. It's not that they don't have intrinsic motivation, but they don't know, and they don't know how to work the system.
Right.
You know?
Yep. And it's important.
Oh, it is. Absolutely it is.
It is definitely important.
Yeah.
So kind of switching gears on you. So, you know, you've done great stuff with tech and you've done great stuff with early college. Well, let me ask you this. What do you want to be your next big fundraiser?
Well, you know, I am doing the tech gala, and I've done it for 11 years. Neil and I, Wilson, you know, Neil's been at tech for 53 years,
My goodness.
and he really did just retire, but we still have him for 1 day a week.
Right.
So we're working on the tech gala, and it's sold out.
Okay.
That'll be March 4. So I'm working on that with them now.
Okay.
And I am considering, because I have a lot of calls about this, and this might be a good catalyst for this, bringing Dancing with the Stars back.
Man, now wouldn't that be fun?
And, you know, it's had a little hiatus,
Yes.
and we have so many new people in town
That's right.
that are so interested. And so I've asked Marina Inn. Now, you know, in 06, every star was aligned.
Yeah.
And when we opened Marina Inn,
Yep.
that was without cost. And
Sure.
when you run a gala or anything without cost, makes for a pretty good net.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I know I won't get,
They're not going to give you a freebie that night.
oh, no. But I think that knowing what has happened, you know, and the GM said, you know, Miss Griffin, you really demand a lot.
No.
Because you know what I always tell people about a fundraiser? You cannot spend all your money and net out,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
And sometimes, you know, the board thinks I run it too tight, you know, on a shoestring. But, you know, I have a husband with a clothing store. And Larry and I went to the Jewish School of Retail when we were young. And so we know how to squeeze a nickel.
Yeah.
You know, it makes a lot of difference, you know. And so, but I will tell you, this whole county, now, this is one giving county. You know that.
Is what?
One giving.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. And when they, and we just lost one of our board members, Steve Robertson, owner of Waccamaw Publishers. And he made Dancing with the Stars.
Yes.
And early college, because, you know, we were on every front page. You know, we were on everything that he did. And when you've got somebody that has the power of the pen,
Yeah, Avenue. Yeah.
it makes an incredible difference.
Sure.
And so I've been thinking about doing that. I've got some new thoughts about. I've been working a little bit with Echo, and I have great concern about our homeless situation here, and I want to impact the youth, maybe through some things. There's a new big grant that I don't guess I'm really at liberty to talk about, but soon.
Sure.
And it is done for the homeless youth. And I think the same kind of model that we had with early college will resonate with this, because you have to give direct service.
Sure.
You don't say, Maria, go down to this office and access this service.
Yeah.
I go with Maria, or I stand by her.
Yes.
She comes back by my office and we fill out the things together.
Right.
You know, because, and you know, it's hard to jump through all these hoops.
It sure is.
You know?
What was it that made you want to give back so much as you have? What's made you, you know, who you are, so philanthropic, so giving, and so wanting the underdog to you know, have a leg to stand on? What you know, what happened that made you want to do that?
I get asked this question a lot. And, you know, I told you I'm from Eastern North Carolina. And my big daddy was county commissioner for Lenore County for all of my life that I knew. And he played a really big role in the development of that county and always helping people. And when we were little girls, you know, we would go to town and be politicking for him, giving out cards.
Yeah.
I still have some. And that had a really big impact on me. And as I told you, we were tobacco farmers. And my mother was one of 11. My daddy was one of 10.
Yes.
I have 51 first cousins.
Whoa, hold up. You got 51 first cousins. Now, do you know all their names?
I grew up with them. We grew up in a 5-mile radius, except for 5 of us.
Is that right?
Yes. Wow. And
That's good living.
that, you know what that really taught me? You know, this new term about a village.
Yeah.
I always had one.
You had a city.
My lawnmower didn't work. I went
Good as zip code.
You had a zip code.
we did. And we lived in a 5-mile radius.
That is wonderful.
Wow.
And that made a lot of difference too. And, you know, also I remember, you know, I grew up in the era of tenant farmers, you know, and we had a big general store. And I remember more than once tap, tap, tap on the side door under the garage.
Uh-huh.
And Ms. Mitchell was out there needing something from Mommy.
Yeah.
And Mommy never said no.
Right.
And, you know, even now Larry will say, now, Marsha, you know you're not going to get that money back.
Right.
This is personal now.
Sure.
And I say, I do know that.
Yep.
But that's my choice.
Yeah.
And so that made me I get much more, I'm filled much more by giving
Yes.
than receiving.
Absolutely.
And you know, too, a lot of people have been mighty good to Marsha Griffin.
Sure.
I sure didn't get here by myself.
Sure.
And I certainly didn't make things work by myself.
Right.
You know, it really has been
But
wonderful.
you know how to connect the dots like nobody's business.
You're a
Amazing.
catalyst.
Yeah,
You're an
yeah.
absolute catalyst.
Well, you know, I think I'm an information broker.
An information broker. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, you are.
Well,
Yeah.
and you know, sometimes I even surprise myself.
I
You
think
know?
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
'Cause
awesome.
instead of knowing 9 ways to skin a cat, after 47 years, you might know 11.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, tell us real quick, you know, before we end today, tell us a little bit about your husband. Tell us about your business down at in Rainbow Row.
Rainbow Road. Well, we've been in Rainbow Harbor for 36 years in a store called the Men's Store.
Mm-hmm.
Very literal. I was going to change the name a few years back, and Larry made me do a survey, and all my men said, we want something we can pronounce and spell.
Right. So that we were stuck with men.
So, and we do custom suits. I'll tell you, we're very fortunate to, after the pandemic, our businesses increased.
That's great.
Our custom suit business has increased. We're just so thankful
You're right.
to be here. You know, we had a store at Walkabout Pottery for a long time.
Yes. Yeah.
Fashion makers. And see, all that has helped me to be in this community too.
Uh-huh.
Because people know me not just as an educator, but an educator with a business background.
Absolutely.
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 And so Larry is indeed the wind beneath my wings.
Absolutely. He's a great guy, too. What a great guy.
He's the greatest and cares about things. Oh, this morning we were riding to work, and he said, we rode by the surfing chows,
Uh-huh.
and he said, oh, you should call and get surfing lessons to sell at auction. I mean, he's like, always.
Yeah. No. This, yeah, absolutely.
Because we've been trying, because, you know, you're tired of same old.
Yeah.
And now we put the auction online at Tech. So go
So what's the site on that?
well, you know, just go to HGTC, our main site, or to the foundation site, and it'll take you. There'll be a clickable for the auction, and y'all,
We will go on there.
awesome things.
Really?
I finished up yesterday a night on the town in Myrtle,
Oh.
and you have a limo from Carolina,
Yeah.
limousine.
Yep. We just sold Joe his land on in Surfside.
Oh,
Yeah.
let me tell you, he really supports
Yeah.
his community.
Yeah. He's a great guy.
Yeah. And then Sea Blue is starting with champagne and caviar.
Oh, wait. Hold up. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Now you just caught my attention. Some champagne and caviar.
Sea
My
Blue
God.
starts your evening.
Yes.
The second stop is Bistro 90
Oh, another
for
great one.
scallops.
Okay.
The second stop is Aspen
Okay.
for a beef dish.
Yeah.
And you'll finish up at New York Prime for dessert and champagne.
Well, I might just have to bid on that today.
Yes.
Okay.
And you could put a bid in.
Yeah, you were talking my language.
It's awesome.
How long does the auction run?
I have to have everything in house on the 7th of February. So I think we'll probably have it up around the 14th.
Okay.
And then the actual gala is March 4.
Okay. So the 14th,
be
and
nice.
you'll be able to bid on all these things. Not even if you didn't get tickets.
Right.
So it's,
So
I
that's
still support. Yeah.
yep. So that's amazing. And where's that? Where's the gala at?
culinary.
At the Culinary School, which is on the
Market Common, which is the former Air Force base.
I don't know about
We tagged that.
I don't know about you, but I still call it the back gate.
So do I.
Yeah.
But when I talk to new people, they'll say,
The back
"Back
gate.
gate."
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yes. Or or the air base.
And we call it our Grand Strand campus.
Yes.
And the culinary, if you've never been down there, now that's another hidden gem.
That's a jam up.
It's very good.
$17 million building designed by Derek Mazinga.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a chef's hat. And you can go there and have lunch 4 days a week, or we do dinner 3 nights a week.
I used to when I went to tech for a tiny bit of time, and I would go eat. They would have you can go get a 5 or 7 course meal at the culinary school when it was on 501.
Yes.
And this building is gorgeous. I mean,
It is a
it
beautiful space.
jam up. But if you want to get a good meal, oh my gosh,
It's unbelievable. And dinner is awesome as well.
well,
And that's where we'll have the culinary event. And I just kind of got a little email from, I do a little change with the Great Cliff down in the Bahamas.
oh yeah,
And do you remember when I had the Great Cliff dinner, when he seen his chef?
yes.
Well, he wants to come again.
Well, that's a great idea too.
And so we'll probably have that. You know, that was a big hit.
Yeah.
And so
Well, I'm in on that
I'm
too.
thinking about that, because I'll tell you, people are so interested again.
Yeah,
You know, the pandemic did a lot of things to us,
sure.
and the anxiety it created, not only in my children but in the adults I work with, has really been pretty unbelievable to me.
It was definitely a life change for so many.
Yeah.
Oh, so many that didn't have the support mechanisms. And, you know, I think some people really, their health diminished.
I believe that very much.
Absolutely. And I see now, I've been working hard with my children about this anxiety, because, you know, it's hard for me to fathom being anxious at 16. I mean, but I know we live in a very different world.
We do.
But anxiety is so real, and the pandemic really did fuel it.
Right. Well, I love all these events, and I think it's good to bring people together in the community. It's good for the cause that it does affect. I mean, and so I'm a promoter. If you decide to do any of these, I think it's great, and I would keep it up. I think it's amazing, and what you do to give back to your community. I mean,
What do you think about bringing Dancing with the Stars?
I say let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, y'all, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Coastal Wave Podcast. Again, thank you, Marsha, for coming in. You are a legend to the great state of South Carolina, and I would say North Carolina, and a legend in this town. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
It's a great learning about
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Take care.